If I told you what really happened, you'd say I've watched too many movies.
This story starts near Pokrovsk, where Russian forces managed to breach the defensive line and punch a wedge deep into Ukrainian-controlled Donbas. The guys from the 1st Separate Assault Regiment received a brutally difficult task: to cut off that wedge and stop the enemy from digging in. A dozen people sweat over maps at HQ. Tank crews mount mine rollers, mechanics, up to their elbows in grease, prep the BTR-4 Bucephalus. The assault troops nervously wait for the go-ahead. So, what does a real assault look like? From a battalion commander down to the soldier inside the vehicle? Where does the order end? And where does character take over? The spearhead of this operation is 4 BTR-4Es.
This is an armored vehicle. The official claim is that the frontal armor can withstand a direct hit from a 14.5mm round, while the side armor should handle 12.7mm. The crew consists of 3: the vehicle commander, who can also control the combat module, the driver, and the gunner in the back. Inside, there are 7 seats for troops.
So that's 28 assault soldiers plus the vehicle crews getting ready for a mission that's going to be insanely dangerous. But these Bucephaluses aren't just expected to survive. They're supposed to do serious damage too. How's that going to play out?
This is the control system for the combat module. What makes this machine special is right here. This thing, the BM7 Peruse combat module. A legend. It's got a 30mm autocannon, a grenade launcher, and it can carry anti-tank guided missiles. And the guys say one of the most helpful tools on board is the PKT, a tank-mounted Kalashnikov machine gun.
While the troops are cleaning their rifles and packing their assault gear, the chief of staff, running on nothing but coffee, goes over every single step of the mission.
The plan is to go in with 4 Bucephaluses and 2 tanks. First, one tank moves separately along this route to carry out a distraction. Its job is to pull enemy attention entirely onto itself. After that, the second tank joins the column with the BTRS. Its task is to hit a specific basement where enemy forces are dug in.
Now, the assault groups are receiving their orders. And you've got a mission too. Hit that like button to support stories like this.
Each BTR has its own task for deploying infantry, and each follows its own route with decoy actions along the way. Every drop-off point must be covered by fire from the 30mm cannon and the PKT machine gun, and the deployment has to happen as fast as possible. After that, the BTR moves on, about 1.5 kilometers, to the next assigned location. At that stage, our regimental artillery kicks in with smoke. Our vampires deploy smoke screens. Plus, one soldier from the BTR tosses smoke out of the hatch to simulate a drop-off at that spot too.
But even the mission itself is a huge risk, for both command and infantry. Any mechanized assault in a convoy is a sitting duck for the enemy. And before the troops even reach the landing point, drones are already in the sky, artillery is getting dialed in, and the kill zone is heating up. And it gets worse. Even before facing the full firepower of the Russians, the troops are already hitting roadblocks. Literally. Commanders have to improvise. The tank crews ran into something they absolutely did not expect.
They're saying there are mines on the road, but we already flew drones over it. There was nothing.
That kind of surprise could have wrecked the entire mission. Luckily, the tankers had installed mine rollers just in case.
We rolled forward and then, boom, the first blast goes off. I look, one of the rollers flew off. We kept moving. Second explosion, then a third. We stopped. I called the commander. Here's what's going on. He says, "Can you keep going?" I say, "Well, technically, yes." We pressed on, cut the corner, tried to rejoin the road, and hit another mine. I radioed in, "This section's mined too. We've already lost 2 rollers." The commander said, "Pull back." That setup we'd rigged for mine clearing. It was damaged. If we had kept going, we'd be picking up mines with our tracks or belly plate. These are magnetic mines.
So, just like that, the tanks are out of the game. But right behind them is the column of BTRS, heading straight for that same mined road. Commanders make a call on the fly.
BTRS, all BTRS, listen up. Before the intersection, veer off, cut across the field. I saw the first and second crews had already peeled off and were driving through fields. And we're like, whatever, we'll stick to the road. We're brave guys, real tough guys. Yeah, but hey, all went well.
They made it through the mined stretch. But the next obstacle was no better: sand. The ground ahead was soft and hard to navigate for wheeled vehicles. That's where Bucephalus started to show weakness. Same as any armored car on that kind of terrain. Don't forget to subscribe to learn more about the vehicles fighting on Ukraine's side.
Він до піску трошки не готовий був цей БТР.
This BTR wasn't exactly built for sand. The vehicle started bogging down. We had to lock all the diffs and engage every axle just to keep moving. I managed to push through. But the fourth crew, who were behind us, told me later. They almost rear-ended us. He said, "You finally moved, man, and thank God, because I was stuck and nearly on your tail." As soon as you got going, I threw it into full drive, rocked it back and forth, and crawled out.
But the sand was just the warm-up. That brief delay gave the Russians enough time to bring in more FPV drones to the BTR route, and the column started taking hits.
Oh, direct hit on the lead vehicle. First one just got hit. Before we could even drop off the infantry, boom, we got hit. Smoke filled the cabin. Nasty smell everywhere. Honestly, I thought the tire caught fire or something. It smelled like burning rubber. Tolyan asked me, "Are we on fire?" I said, "Nah, just smoking." We kept going, got hit again, and again. After the fifth strike, I stopped counting. When we finally halted to unload the infantry, another powerful strike landed. Coolant started leaking across the windshield. Our driver goes, "We're done. We're not going anywhere." I told him, "If we don't move, we're gonna catch hell from command."
Despite the multiple hits, the first BTR completed its mission. Armor and added protection did their job, but the crew of the second BTR had an even harder fate waiting.
The second team dropped troops at their point, started heading home, and took a critical hit.
At this point, the command post could do little except bark updates over the radio. It was now down to the crew's survival skills. The mission turned from assault to escape. What played out next was a front row seat to a soldier's worst day.
Він до піску
We dropped the infantry. On our way back, my BTR just stopped.
Давай, на всех парах пошел, блядь!
The BTR, driven by a mechanic with the call sign Sailor, was hit by a wave of FPV drones. One of the hits completely disabled the vehicle. The crew had no choice but to abandon it.
We know one crew member, a sapper tasked with launching smoke during the drop-off, was likely killed. Another, the gunner, is currently listed as missing. No contact, no sightings, he just disappeared. The driver, he's still out there with the infantry, holding the line.
Я спішуюся.
I dismount, and now I'm a rifleman, an assault trooper. But honestly, I'd rather be inside armor, even if that armor's gone. The BTR came to a stop in the middle of a field. And between that field and the Ukrainian position where our guys were holding ground, he still had about 800 meters to cross. While I was moving from the vehicle to the tree line, it felt like a Hollywood war movie. First, something was dropped right on me, wounded me. Then I kept moving, and an FPV drone came in, hit my legs. The earlier drop injured my hands. I kept pushing forward. Then, from the other side of a tank ditch, small arms fire opened up. I dropped into the grass and weeds and just laid there. I could hear the bullets zipping by. Phew, phew, phew. I thought, "Sailor, is this where it ends? Will this field be your grave and you go missing forever?" But I told myself, no, this can't be it.
Sailor's story didn't end there. In fact, what happened next could rival any Hollywood action flick. Wounded, bleeding, and alone, Sailor made it to friendly positions. But evacuation wasn't possible, so instead, he fought. Despite his injuries, he helped repel multiple Russian counterattacks side by side with infantry. And this didn't go on for a few hours. Not a day. He held out for 2 whole weeks.
Shrapnel here, and here. I dug them out myself, with a stick, wrapped up the wounds best I could. I was already in a dugout by then.
There was no time to rest or recover. The enemy was already tightening the noose. Russians were trying to push through again and again, but they paid for it.
Коротше, розкажу, блядь.
I'll tell you straight. A Russian comes at me, I light him up. Bang, bang, bang. He drops. I guess their command knew we were there, but they didn't tell the troops. One guy shouts to me, "Brother, I'm Russian. I'm one of yours." I pop out and unload maybe 10 rounds at him. I just said, "Yeah, sure, one of ours."
Despite the chaos, the pain, and the losses, the mission was a success. Ukraine managed to cut off Russian logistics in this sector and complicate their tactical position. The BTR assault, supported by bomber drones and coordinated infantry drops, proved effective, even with the setbacks. Command made the right calls under pressure. Infantry deployed at the correct drop zones without a single loss. As for Sailor, after holding the line for 2 weeks, he was finally evacuated and handed over to medics. For his bravery and professionalism, he was nominated for a state award.
Посередньо на полі бою. Морячук
Sailor accomplished an extremely difficult task. He stayed loyal to the mission until the end, loyal to his comrades. He will be recognized with a national award, and there are many more like him, whose stories haven't yet been told. But they too will be nominated for honors for this operation.
This is just one episode among countless others happening every day on the battlefields of the Russo-Ukrainian War. Most of them never make it to the screen, but Ukraine holds the line and keeps fighting. And we'll keep showing you what that fight looks like. Thank you for watching.